You read about it, you see snippets on the news, and I hate to say it, Afghanistan becomes just another battle zone, another skirmish in the so-called war on terror. That is, until you're in the thick of it, under enemy fire. I can tell you, that's when you realise how grim, how relentless, maybe how futile this war really is. Despite the jubilation after the American invasion 5 years ago, the Taliban has not been defeated, far from it. This conflict is now deadlier than ever, and we're about to send in 240 more Australian troops into a country where the enemy's everywhere and everyone's a target. It's summer in Afghanistan, and it really is a spectacular time of year. Except summer is the killing season for the Taliban. And already this year, they've killed more soldiers and civilians than in all of the last 5 years. Today, we're flying to a remote mountain village in the southeast of the country to wipe out a Taliban stronghold. This is active duty on Afghanistan's invisible front line.
I want them looking down here.
What the American soldiers sign up for. But for me, the danger doesn't feel real until we spot the enemy.
They're coming down from the hills. Pretty fast.
Hey, come here. Hey. See that guy move out of the rocks?
The Americans want to engage the Taliban in a gunfight, and sure enough, the Taliban takes the bait and starts firing. They're shooting at us from the cover of the orchard and wheat field.
Stay down, man.
As quickly as it started, it's over. Outnumbered, the Taliban retreats.
They were definitely shooting at us from this eastern ridge right here.
Today's aim is to round up mid-value Taliban targets, not the colonels, but captains, if you like, who lead cells of 20 to 30 men. Right now, US soldiers are searching the village for men and weapons. Others are searching the hills. The Americans have never been to this area before. To date, it's really been the Taliban's playground. And right now, the Taliban is far from happy.
One of them said that if they come to my location, I will start shooting.
You're now listening to the Taliban. We've intercepted their radio communications and we can hear they're targeting us from the hills.
Yeah, we've got ICOM traffic of an element that's watching us. They do have an RPG.
All right.
RPGs are bad news. They're rocket-propelled grenades with a deadly range of about 1 kilometre and a favourite weapon of the Taliban. As their training videos show, the Taliban is now taking inspiration from the insurgents in Iraq, using suicide bombers and improvised explosive devices, better known as IEDs, to blow up their targets.
Those are tactics of desperation and tactics, in my mind, of cowards.
Hey, we told 3rd Platoon to start clearing down this direction.
Lieutenant Colonel Frank Sturek is the US military commander in the Zabul province.
Well, what I say now is we move into the town.
In the hunt for Osama bin Laden, close to 30,000 foreign troops have been in Afghanistan since America overthrew the Taliban in 2001. Mostly the Taliban withdrew to Pakistan, but with 5 years to regroup, they've launched a vicious counterattack.
I think it's the Taliban's attempt to reassert themselves. And what they're finding is that we're not leaving.
How much of this war is still about finding Osama bin Laden?
For me, nothing other than a target of opportunity.
Do you believe he's actually in Afghanistan?
I don't. I think he would be foolish to be in Afghanistan. He probably, where the safe haven is in Pakistan.
Yeah, Roger.
8 hours into our operation, Colonel Sturek and his men now run this valley. And amongst the villagers, they find what they've come for, suspected Taliban, With the suspects now under guard, the Colonel's job is to win over these farmers who've harboured the enemy.
My name is Lieutenant Colonel Sturek. I'm the
Convince them
commander of
he is
Coalition
good
Forces.
and the Taliban is bad.
They cannot win. And the coalition and the Afghan National Army can go anywhere at any time that we want to defeat the Taliban.
What I'll do is deny the Taliban where he can get his food, where he can get his water and those things like that.
Because the truth is they could be die-hard sympathisers of the Taliban.
Absolutely. I mean, give them a life choice. You say you can join the government and you can be part of the solution, or you can fight us and take the chance on losing your life.
For the people of Afghanistan, it's an impossible choice. If they support the coalition, they risk becoming targets of the Taliban, who are waging a civil campaign of intimidation. In this guerrilla war, it's more effective to kill their own people than take on the might of the West. So who do they listen to?
We listen to both. If we don't listen to the Americans, they will take us prisoner. And if we don't listen to the Taliban, they will kill us. So we listen to both.
When will the Taliban stop blowing people up, stop murdering the citizens of Afghanistan?
This is not easy to stop it.
As former ambassador to Pakistan, Abdul Salam Zayef was the public face of the Taliban. Since his release from Guantanamo Bay late last year, he claims to no longer be part of the regime. It just doesn't sound like it.
We are not believing that the Taliban, they are terrorists.
How can you consider a campaign of civil terror to be a legitimate fight?
This is struggle for freedom. It's not terrorist action.
How much financial support is the Taliban getting from Al-Qaeda?
I will tell you one thing. The Taliban must find the fund from anywhere to fight with America.
So Pakistan,
to defeat them from anywhere.
From Al-Qaeda?
I think they should find the support from anywhere. That's simple.
If you think the war on terror is protracted, then consider the other war being fought in this country, the war on drugs. Economically, this place is addicted to opium. The conservative view is that it makes up more than half Afghanistan's gross domestic product, somewhere around $5 billion a year. And it doesn't matter the size of the village, there are poppy fields everywhere. In the capital, Kabul, head of the Counter-Narcotics Bureau, General Sayed Kamal Sadat, is taking me on a tour that will blow your mind. General, how much opium do you have here?
Here maybe 30 tons.
30 tonnes. And how much is that worth?
This billion dollars.
This stash has been seized in just 6 months. So this is the paste. And not just opium, but also sacks of hashish and bags of heroin.
Last time you seen or no?
Yeah, I've seen before, but not this close. There's room after room of it, but it's still a small proportion.
Yes.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
No, you're not. This country produces something like 4,000 tonnes of opium a year.
There are many drug lords in this country who get away with it, and therefore the production of narcotics is on the increase.
The basic idea is we're just trying to sneak into their area and just get in their battle space. So at the very
They
least,
call themselves the Devils, Delta Company, and leading them on tonight's mission is Lieutenant Sean Nolan. You certainly have a lot of firepower, but is this an enemy that you respect or fear?
They're tricky ones. They've been very good at massing firepower. These guys are a lot better trained than you give them credit for.
We're heading into Taliban territory to draw them out to fight, and it's hard not to feel like a sitting duck. Do you get nervous coming out here?
It gets a little creepy because they could be anywhere. This is their time. They like the moon, they like the mountaintops, they like the night.
It's nearing midnight, and our gunner, with his massive night scope, sees something suspicious.
It's to his left.
We've stopped here because these guys have spotted someone on a rooftop down there with either an AK-47 or an RPG. One team's gone in to investigate. They're all worried about this one guy. I'm personally worried about the others they can't see.
He looks like he's holding a rifle in the air. Hold on. He went down. He looked like he had a weapon of some sort.
But their rules of engagement also require them to be certain, and in the time it takes to check, our mystery man disappears into the night. Having been in the sniper's sights for close to half an hour, he doesn't know how close he came to being shot.
I lost him. He's no longer there.
We've now been patrolling for 20 hours, and we're still in Taliban country. We've heard their chatter, but they're an elusive enemy.
They talk on the radios, but they never want to come out and play.
You would like to play?
Yeah. If I'm going to go somewhere and be away from my family, we need to play.
And that means killing Taliban?
Most definitely.
Finding the Taliban is like finding the golden unicorn, because he fires at you at night close to dusk, and then he withers away and melts away into the mountainside.
We're receiving incoming rounds on the videotape this.
As this home video recorded by soldiers shows, when they do come face to face, it's often a short battle.
Need to go right 100.
The Taliban simply doesn't have the muscle power.
Ah, right there.
The Americans proudly admit this is not a fair fight. They want to whack the Taliban with everything they've got. And this is just one type of machine gun they have in their well-stocked arsenal, the 50 cal. It doesn't even have to hit you to kill you. Stand within a metre of its shot and the shockwave will tear you in half. By comparison, this is what the enemy fights with. This sorry lot has been seized from captured Taliban, and they have their nasties like the RPGs and the anti-tank mines, but they also have to rely on single-shot rifles and AK-47s. Certainly sturdy weapons, but these are more than 40 years old. Why haven't you guys won the war yet?
You got to win it one person at a time, one village at a time. And that's why it's slow, that's why it takes patience, and that's why it's sometimes frustrating.
This is a country that's only known war for the last 25 years. It's left a state of mind and a level of poverty that's going to take many years to repair. But that's not to say things aren't changing. Slowly, more and more women are revealing their faces. And music and sport is no longer banned, as it was under the Taliban.
I feel comfortable without guards.
Already, local governor Abdul Jabbar Naimi sees great hope for peace. Would you walk down the street of your province without security?
Yes, sure.
But for our walk, Governor Naimi closes down the main highway and brings along 22 armed guards.
Because today, because of your team, we are here just to see things.
And so because of us, you have security today? Yes?
Yes.
Not because of you, but because of us?
Yes.
But who can blame this young governor for his positive spin?
And this new construction was not existing at all.
For wanting the world to invest in the reconstruction of the country he so strongly believes in. What is your aim? What do you want to turn this place into?
To see a beautiful city, to see a city like anywhere else.
You come over here and it looks biblical. It really does. But 4 years ago, it was biblical, and you felt every step of it by the lack of infrastructure, because there really was nothing before.
All right, yeah. There we go. There he is, right there. We got downtown Houston.
Looks like they knew you were coming.
They generally do. Plus, most of these guys just hang out in the center of town.
Back on patrol with Delta Company, Lieutenant Sean Nolan is bringing in food to try to win over this village, thought to shelter Taliban.
Do the Taliban ever threaten them or tell them not to cooperate with American forces?
But winning the hearts and minds of this community, let alone the entire country, feels to me like a bit of a hit-and-miss mission, especially with such a violent enemy.
But they're sitting there watching us right there and on that hill I showed you earlier.
It's classic insurgency. Taunting them, the Taliban remains largely out of sight and out of reach.
Okay.
All the Americans want to do is fight, but clearly terror has not yet been defeated.
And that's kind of the really frustrating thing about it. It's not as much a war as it is kind of a delicate game of cat and mouse.
Hello, I'm Tara Brown. Thanks for watching 60 Minutes Australia. Subscribe to our channel now for brand new stories and exclusive clips every week. And don't miss out on our extra minutes, segments and full episodes of 60 Minutes on 9now.com.au and the 9Now app.